my friend. Welcome to the Intentional Mind Podcast. I'm your host, Ange Barnard. And on today's episode, I have a short episode for you here to provide a boost of encouragement, inspiration, motivation, all of those things. So if you feel like you want some of that, listen to this episode. And if you know someone who might need a little pick-me-up, share this episode with them. So I created this episode because I needed the pick-me-up. And I needed the wisdom that was given to me, and it really helped shift my energy. So I thought maybe it would help you in a similar way. So what happened was I woke up this morning, and immediately after opening my eyes, I laid there in bed. You ever do that? You just lay there for a while and you start thinking. And I was thinking about all the things that I had to get done that day and the week and all the things that were on my plate. And then I started thinking about how I might struggle handling all of those things and doing them very well because there's so much going on. And then I started thinking about what other people might think about me handling all those things if I did suck at handling all the things. Then what? And then there was another voice that jumped in and was hating on myself for putting all the things on my plate to begin with. It was like this cycle. And that's what happens with this catabolic energy that I talk often about, is one of those negative voices shows up and then it brings all its friends and then you go down that spiral. And for me, I've done so much work in this space that I tend to a lot of times notice those thoughts. And I did. I saw them playing out this morning and I wasn't able to shift them right away. But I noticed them. And that's very powerful. And I want you to get in the habit of noticing your thoughts, especially when you wake up first thing in the morning, because that's going to tell you a lot about how you're running your life. Are you leading your life from a catabolic state? Or are you leading it from an anabolic, uplifting, positive state? This morning, I was leading it from a catabolic state. So I got up and I started rushing around with that rushing energy. And I was like, let me try to get all these things done. Let's hurry up. And I could feel that anxiousness kicking in, you know? Then I had a meeting with one of my mentors and they asked me how I was feeling. And I keep it real like I always do. And I said I was feeling a little overwhelmed about all the things that were on my plate. And I talked about how this upcoming weekend is my first ever event that I'm hosting. And although I'm very excited about that event and I can't wait to meet people in person and see it, just hear the other speakers, I'm going to be honest and say that I also feel pressure around putting on a really good event, knowing that people trusted me, that they invested their time, their money, their energy to be there. These speakers invested their energy and their time to come to this event from across the nation, all of that stuff. So I was thinking about that, the pressure of all that. And then I was thinking about my own talk and wanting to do well with my own talk. And every time someone tells me they're excited to hear me talk, I'm like, oh my, like the pressure still feels like it's kicking in. And then I was thinking about how I have these other presentations that I'm also working on and presenting the same week, you know, so there was a lot going on in my mind. And you might not be able to relate specifically to those things happening, but I bet you can relate to feeling like you have a lot on your plate and feeling maybe some pressure to perform well at all of those things that are on your plate. And then worrying about what other people might think about your performance in all those areas, whether it's how you perform as a parent, how you perform as a spouse, how you perform as an employee or a boss or a business owner, all of that stuff. I know you have felt that same kind of pressure. So I was sharing that sense of overwhelm that I was feeling, that self-doubt that was kicking in, all of that. And he said several things to me. I'm going to paraphrase these things that were said, but they were so helpful. One of them, he said, was to make sure that I'm taking time away from trying to do all these things, like quality time to step away and just like let my brain rest some instead of trying to do everything, you know? And it's like, that's the last thing we all want to do. Y'all know this. When you have a lot on your plate, the last thing that you want to be doing is being like, well, I'm going to do a meditation, or I'm going to go outside and go for a walk and chill. I mean, maybe some of you guys, you're more developed in that area than me, because for me, I'm like, no, I need to get this thing done. So next, I don't got time for that. I got to keep moving on, but that's the thing that you need the most, is that moment to pause, to let that part of your brain that's trying to solve all the problems stop and tap into the messages from the divine wisdom, that peaceful state. Allow that to show up and to help you get the things done that you want to and show up the ways that you want to show up. So I was like, you're right. Like, I really need to do that. And I was thinking about this day in particular where I didn't take any of that time to really do those things, because I did that thing that I do sometimes where if I wake up and I already feel behind, I tend to throw out the self-care basic stuff that I tell people we all should be doing. And I get it. Like, I do my best to show up that way. And I'm also quick to throw it out when I'm feeling really overwhelmed. It's easy to show up and do my morning routine when things are going well. It's a lot harder when they're not, but that's when I need that routine the most. And the stuff I share on this podcast, I share it because I'm not an expert at it, but because I need this wisdom too. So I was like, you're right. Taking that time away and actually taking those 5 minutes for myself and letting myself recharge versus trying to fight and grit through it, because you're doing that from a catabolic state. So that was one piece of wisdom. So I want you to think about that in your life. Even just 5 minutes of something, that 5-minute shower where instead of rushing through it, you stay in there a little bit longer. Maybe it ends up being 10 minutes, 15 minutes, or whatever it is that you need. Or that time outside for the break, go for a little mini walking break. Add that to your day. Like, all of this stuff helps so much. So I'm about to go for a walk here after this episode. And what else he said? He talked about how the fear is there. Like, that's normal. The fear is going to show up. We know that. The fear is always going to be there, especially when we are trying to make progress on our lives. And he said the way that he likes to view fear, which I loved this visual, is he said, fear is there. Like, if you think about, so we're going to kind of personify these two things. I don't know if that's the right word. But fear is like the little kid that's like, I don't want to go. I'm scared. I don't think I can do this. Right. And then courage is like grabs fear by the hand and says, let's effing go. And I was like, I love that, because I think what I was doing is I was kind of sitting in the fear place. And I was like, I don't know if I can handle all this. I don't know if I could do this. I don't, like, all that stuff was kicking in. And then I see courage just grab me by the hand. It's like, let's effing go. And another thing I heard was someone was talking about how, often we're given this advice that you got this, you can do this. And what she was saying is just to remind you that it's not just about you can do it, but God can help you. Like, it's not all on you. And I know I say that often on this show, but really stopping to think about that. Like, any stress that you're feeling right now, is it because you're acting like all of the solutions are up to you? It's only up to you to figure it out. Instead of leaning in more into God and be like, God, help me. I'm going to show up. I'm going to try to do my best for all the things that are happening in my life. And can you help me? Be here with me. And she was talking about how in the Bible, like, there is not a lot of, like, when someone's feeling really down throughout the different stories in the Bible, it's not like Jesus is showing up and is like, you got this, you got this. It's like, no, he's like, with me, like you, like, I'm here, I'm going to help you, I'm going to support you. There's a lot of talk around that. I'll be there with you when you go. And just reminding yourself of that, whatever it is you're going through, you're not going through it alone. Like, God is with you, and like really leaning on that support in your life. that really helped me. And he was talking about how my mentor, how he went and did a presentation recently and how that helped him, was thinking about that, like asking God to show up and help him with the right words and all of that. And I think about the pressure that I'm feeling around, that I'm putting on my own self around developing good talks and presentations and all of that. It's like, God is with me. I'm going to do the best that I can, and he's going to show up with me. And then I'm unattached from the results. I'm not going to beat myself up over after any of that stuff happens. No, because when it's done, it's done. Now we press forward. Like we look at what's ahead. We just did an episode about that. And so anyways, that wisdom really helped me. Another thing that we talked about was, you know how when you do something new, we talk a lot about this in our Commit to Your Vision program. You got to train to be that person. You don't just show up and be that person. There's a training process around your habits that need to be developed to be this next version of yourself, and your mental habits as well, the way you think about yourself. And what happens is the way the mind is designed, it's meant to keep the current program running. So when you are doing something new and you step out into this new territory, it's very common for the subconscious to start to send these messages around like, I'm freaking out, like that fear version of you kicking in, like, I don't think you can do this. Like that was happening for me. And it's like, yeah, because I'm about to next level in my life. Of course, that stuff is going to show up. That fear is going to be there. That little kid afraid of what's to come, that's going to show up. And then I got courage there that grabs that fear by the hand, because this is the whole point. Fear doesn't just go away. Like it's still going to be along for the ride always. So courage is like grabs the fear's hand and says, let's effing go. And goes after that life that you want. So this wisdom just really provided a lot of encouragement to me. And now one of the big things is I'm going to step away. I'm not going to be in that hustle, like try to like get all the things done and like force it to happen energy. No, I'm going to step away. After this episode, I'm going to go for a jog. I'm going to just be and enjoy what's happening and trust that I'll get all those things done that I need to get done, that's supposed to get done. And God's going to help me through all of those things. So anytime going forward, you feel that fear, the self-doubt kicking in, I want you to picture this in your mind. Picture the little fear character, like scared, I don't know if I can do this, and what will they think of me, like all that language. And then picture the courage character, whatever that might look like to you, grabbing that fear by the hand and then saying that let's effing go message, that'll help you. Okay, so recap, you got that message that we just shared about courage, taking time away, even when you feel like that's the last thing that you want to do, allowing yourself to recharge, the things that help you recharge. And also just reminding yourself that it's normal. If you are up-leveling and you're feeling any fear, self-doubt, worry, might be a good thing, because what that might mean is that you are about to take your life to the next level. So reframing even how you see that. Another little bonus thing I want to throw in here is I had someone message me about being really frustrated that things didn't work out the way that they wanted, a plan that they had in place with someone else. The person backed out, canceled the thing, and they were really frustrated about it. And I shared with her, what if this is happening for you? What if there's a better plan? I know I say this all the time, but I feel like I constantly need that reminder when I start getting attached to how I want something to be. What if it's happening for you? All right, I hope this provided a little boost of encouragement for you. Thank you so much for leaving reviews. If you haven't done so, please do so and have the best day. I will talk to you soon. Bye.